Good morning, everybody. Or it's morning here, anyways. I want to talk about inflation because I just thought of an analogy, a metaphor for what happened throughout 2019, 2020, 2020, to today. And what I personally believe is the conceptual core of what is causing all of these problems. Because what you'll hear from Joe Biden is, well, there's inflation everywhere. Well, yes, and I believe everyone around the world fucked up, and now everyone around the world is saying, well, inflation is everywhere. The Germans can say, well, there's inflation everywhere. It's not because of what we did. It's because of what all of you did. And I'll tell you what you did. You plugged up your goddamn water spigot. Now, imagine you have a well. Imagine, you supply the water for the town. And people come and they give you money. And you go, oh, here's your water. Here, open the faucet, there you go. And then for whatever reason, somebody plugs up the spigot to where it's just not flowing very well. You're getting a little bit, it's maybe a drizzle, but there's just not as much water. So the head of the village central bank goes, wait a second, last month, $10,000 was exchanged for water. But now, this month, only $100 was exchanged for water. What could be causing this? I know people are nervous, so they're not willing to spend the money on the water. They're trying to save what money they have because they're uncertain about the future. So you know what we should do? What if we give everybody a bunch of money? And what if we just put all this extra money out into the economy and invest in all this stuff and create jobs? And then when everybody has more money, they'll buy more water. And while I think, in this analogy, it seems pretty obvious that that's really, really stupid, I believe, or I suspect, that people who are used to looking at spreadsheets, who are used to looking at what's the GDP, what's the GDP of Russia, that's nothing. They're like a minor country. They're not a major power. All we have to do is kick in the door and the whole rotten structure will come crumbling down. And which is going great, by the way. So these people they're so used to looking at things through one little perspective. If they're politicians, they just look at politics. And, well, also money. Actually, a lot of money and a little bit of politics. Like 90% focused on money, their own money, and then like 10% getting reelected so they can continue to focus on their money. But if you're sitting there looking at your spreadsheets all day and you go, oh, the GDP is up, the GDP is down, there's this much money exchanging hands, and you go, well, there's not enough money exchanging hands, people must not have enough money. And for anyone who was used to focusing on supply chains, on logistics, which at the beginning of COVID, as soon as everything started to lock down, I started calling people like, look, go get food, canned food, toilet paper, whatever you need, because everyone's kind of whistling past the graveyard and no one's really accounting for the fact that you're trying to take this super complex system of supply chains and on-demand delivery and all this, like, what's the word I'm looking for? Basically, like if somebody orders it, you count on the materials to make the thing, to provide them the product, coming in right on time. So if there's a delay, then your factory is delayed. Then you can't make the component that gets shipped to that other factory to go into that unit that's going to go to that construction project. So now everything is just sand in the gears. And what they did, like I said, I think they're so busy looking at the numbers, they just went, not enough money is exchanging hands. There must not be enough money. At least if we're calling it stupidity. Much of what's been done, if you just kind of like put all the fact sheet out, it is so much extremely stupid decisions, so many extremely stupid decisions, so consistently. It's hard for me to believe that it really is just stupidity. It's hard for me to believe that it was just all an accident, all a misunderstanding. Let's just offer amnesty to everyone who may or may not have been following the science and, shutting people down and destroying family relationships and making outcasts out of fellow citizens and just remember that the masks don't work. The masks don't do anything, except that they do now. And if you say that they don't, then you're evil and you're engaging in misinformation and malinformation and disinformation. And I'm ranting a bit, but basically, either these people are extremely dishonest or they're extremely dumb. And personally, I think, is it like 50-50 between? I think it is 100% both of them. They are extremely stupid. And I don't mean that because now I really am just ranting. If you go based on what they claimed they were trying to do, bullshit. Bullshit. And maybe they kind of were, and there were some mistakes made, but then they just double down, push harder. Do 5-year-olds need the vaccine? No, probably not. Does it pose a risk to them? Yeah, more evidence is coming out that maybe, it does, maybe a little bit. The jury's out, we don't know. I won't say it's dangerous for younger people, especially younger men, but, there's some reports out there saying that may be the case. But if you say that, you're evil and terrible and you want grandma to die. And if you're saying that, we shouldn't be involved in Ukraine, you want Ukrainians to die. And if you say, even for a moment, that you doubt that people working in politics, which is literally the contest for who holds the most power ever, like literally in the history of the world, the people running our governments hold the most power ever. And you just have to trust that no one would do anything untowards in that process. No one would. And I believe that. It's entirely genuine. I can't speak to any particular election, but the motivation is there to maybe do some bad things. Maybe. But to get back to my original point, they assumed, I guess, if you're to take them at their word as to what they were trying to accomplish, that they thought it was a demand side issue. So when you just need to grease the gears and get some more money out there and get things moving, get the economy going again. And they didn't think about the fact that not only did they actually shut down supply chains, actually shut down production, actually shut down all of this shit, then the damage has been done. Now, eventually, all of those, as long as if we can get these stupid fuckers to stop touching things, just stop touching, just leave it alone. Just leave it alone. We have this, if the supply chain is a garden, another analogy, if the supply chain is a garden or like a forest, you have a bunch of idiots who are like, well, let's see, it's not growing very well. Let's see if we'll cut this tree down and then we'll put it on top of that other tree and maybe it'll grow faster, like plant growth or something, which, there's ways to tend to forests and gardens and all that. But I promise you, if you just stopped fucking touching it, it would be fine. And maybe if you have a competent forester, they could do a good job. A competent and honest forester, they could do a great job. And they could nurse the forest back to health. You morons, you absolute lying, I really am ranting, you lying pieces of shit are not only so stupid that even if what you claimed you were trying to accomplish was true, you failed miserably and you made the worst possible decisions if that's actually what you were trying to do. But also, if you look a little deeper and you try to investigate and you go, you know what, maybe let's come up with a couple theories about what they're actually trying to accomplish. You are also miserably failing there, which is why you're desperate, which is why these fuckers are just keep talking about domestic terrorism and white supremacy. Eventually, people stopped really resonating with that. So, but January 6th, misinformation, malinformation, disinformation. Because, obviously we need to look out for those people who engage in wrongthink. The wrongthink of realistically looking at supply and demand and saying, hey, when the supply goes down, just increasing the demand with more money doesn't get the products moving any faster. Because it doesn't matter if someone wants to buy an Xbox. If the Xbox isn't there, no money changes hands. So there you go. Basic supply and demand and a fair bit more ranting. And I'm a peaceful person. I don't feel like a peaceful person, but basically I try to live very strongly by the non-aggression principle. But if you want amnesty, I'm not coming for you. I won't touch you. You'll be fine. You can go continue to be a piece of shit. However, fuck your amnesty. Fuck your amnesty. And I think that's a good note to end the video. So, supply and demand, fuck your amnesty, let's get out of Ukraine. Yeah, this went off on a tangent, but thanks for listening.